third and final race is about to get underway here for the B group of the BRSCC Mazda Championship, and we've got Jack Moody starting in pole position and Tom Jenkins, who's quite evenly matched against Jack, starting in second position. Now Tom's managed to break away from his brother, who is currently down in fifth, so let's see if we can keep the gap away from him. So Andy, we're going to hand it over to you for all of the action.
Lyndsay, well, there were no non-finishers in race number 2A, so the top 5 grid positions on this grid are the bottom 5 finishers from race 2A. Jack Moody, Thomas Jenkins, Michael Nibbs, Bryn Griffiths and Oliver Jenkins, the top 5. All of them, apart from Jack Moody, making their second B grid appearance of the day. Really, though, I expect the action to come from behind. I'm really looking forward to seeing the resumption of this Charles Mugglestone, Alan Hawkins, Oliver Robinson, Richard Wootton battle. There are some of the drivers that had issues in the second of the B races. Will Hayden was the only retiree from that race, but a few of those drivers went a lap down and will be looking to try and avoid that fate in race 3B. So here we go then. We've had some great racing already this weekend. The final MX-5 Championship race of the weekend gets underway now with Jack Moody, the black car, on pole position. We're a bit hesitant there getting off the line, but I think he will still lead them down towards the Hatchett's hairpin for the first time. The yellow car there of Michael Nibbs tried to fight through into second position. I think he might just do that actually at the expense of Thomas Jenkins, who's locking up the brakes on the outside line there. Then you've got Bryn Griffiths, the race 1B winner. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make that stick and stay in the A group in the second race, so he's back down onto the B grid again, but he'll be enjoying another fight for a potential victory here. The same is true of Oliver Jenkins, who progressed with Bryn in race 1B to race 2A, now in race 3, back in the B grid again because they were in the bottom 5 finishers of the previous A race. Oh, that's not going to work surely. That's Oliver Robinson up the inside, but it did work. He gained 2 places in 1 there. We're on board with number 96 Charles Mugglestone into the back of Nick Ledoyen. Round he goes on. The luckless Richard Wootton's involved as well. Clive Chisnall's on the grass. Alan Hawkins was delayed in all of that as well. Remarkably, all 3 of them though are going to rejoin, but right at the back of the grid. So now we've got some real entertainment on our hands, because they were 3 of the drivers we expected to be fighting for top 5 positions, and they're now all going to have to work their way through the field together. Nick Ledoyen possibly with some bodywork rubbing on the right rear tyre. That should be okay though, I hope. Say that more optimistically than realistically maybe, but we'll wait and see. But that was a shame that had to happen there. That was Charles Mugglestone getting into the back of Nick Ledoyen, and poor old Richard Wootton had nothing to do with that. He had nowhere to go to avoid it. Right, end of lap 1 then, and that's spread the field out a little bit now inside the top 5 or 6. We've still got battling going on though. Jack Moody leads the way, Michael Nibbs in second, more locking up for Thomas Jenkins there, the 56 car in 3rd place. Then Bryn Griffiths is 4th, and into 5th place goes Oliver Robinson up the inside there of one of the BS Motorsport cars, I think that was. Not sure. Probably Oliver Jenkins, wasn't it, that he got past, but not entirely. It must have been Oliver, because Thomas Jenkins is up in 3rd position. There he is, the red car. Then Bryn Griffiths behind him, looking for maybe his second win of the day. There behind, it is Oliver Jenkins, looking up the inside actually of Oliver Robinson, so the 2 Olivers together. We've got 2 Jenkins in this race, we've got several Robinsons, and we've got 2 Olivers towards the sharp end as well, so at some point I'm bound to get it wrong, so I apologise in advance if I do. But there, no doubt about it, is Thomas Jenkins, the number 56 car, who is in 3rd position now as they go out onto the back straight for the second time of asking. The black car though of Jack Moody leading the way, and Jack finished 60th in the first A race, which was just enough to stay out of the relegation positions, but then in the second A race he finished in 17th, 1 position further back, and that meant that he has been relegated onto the front of this grid, but he ought to have the pace probably to win this one, but Michael Nibbs going with him at the moment. It's always hard to know, isn't it, because sometimes these drivers get sort of missed in all of the frenetic action in the A races, so we don't really know what their true pace is compared to each other, and sometimes when you give them a bit of clean air at the front of the track, they can really surprise you with their speed. Michael Nibbs has been there or thereabouts all day in these B races. He got promoted in the previous one, back into the B group again now. Top 5 pulling away. There's no promotion to worry about in this race though, because obviously there is no 4th race, so wherever you finish in this one is just where you finish. There's no promotion to A races or anything like that, so it's all out warfare usually in the 3rd race of the day. And again, that's the 2 Olivers together. Oliver Jenkins up the inside of Oliver Robinson. The red and yellow car of Robinson has the inside line for the next few corners, but the momentum is arguably on the outside line through here, and I reckon that Oliver Jenkins might get his nose in front. Can he complete the manoeuvre though down in towards Brooklyn? So he can't. Robinson shoots back through on the inside. Will he run wide on the exit of the corner? Oh, doesn't matter though, because Jenkins clobbers the curbs and gets all out of shape. There you can see Alan Hawkins in 7th place, not far behind them. Everybody else filing through as well. Great battling though in the early stages again, as we've seen all day long from the MX-5 Championship, both in the A and the B races. And if you haven't checked out those A races, it's well worth doing so, because there's been plenty of action there, plenty of twists and turns in the early championship standings. For most of these drivers, even championship points not particularly significant. It's all about just getting the best results you can. Points are still on offer, of course, for a B race victory, but nowhere near as many as for an A race. So the drivers that we regularly see racing in the B grids, not likely to be championship contenders. They're just out there to try and better their positions race by race and have fun. And really, fun has been the word to describe the entire weekend in these B races. There's been some spectacular action. I think we're likely to see some more in this one. Michael Knibbs there and Thomas Jenkins getting themselves together, but not letting Jack Moody escape too far out in front. Now, if these two work together, they could maybe close in on him, but that's not happening. Look, because Thomas Jenkins is really applying the pressure to Knibbs in front of him. Michael Knibbs through the right-hander at Brooklands again. So Michael, going into this weekend, his best finish in the B race had been 4th. He still hasn't actually beaten that, because his 5th place finish in race number 1 was good enough to promote him into the A grid, but wasn't actually his best finish of the season so far. He's not yet had a podium though, so I wonder whether or not this is going to be his chance to do so. Will it be 2nd or 3rd? It may be 3rd, because Thomas Jenkins had a much better exit from the final corner there. He's up the inside line down towards turn number 1, and Thomas Jenkins, with his nose in front and the preferred line into the Hatchet's hairpin, I think is going to take the 2nd position away from Michael Knibbs, but Michael's not going to give it away without a fight. In the end though, has to say that the preferred line was with Thomas and lets him go for the time being. He'll settle back in line though, and before too much longer I'm sure Michael will try and get back on the inside of him. Interests me that Bryn Griffiths is behind these two and yet beat them both in the first B race, but they both beat him in the A race they were in earlier on this morning. And Bryn in the blue and gold car, having got that victory, the first victory of his MX-5 career in the previous race, not quite able to live with the pace of these two today. It's slightly warmer today. I don't know whether that's maybe got something to do with it. Setup wise, tyres will be starting to cry enough as well. Most of these drivers will use the same set of tyres all weekend long. In fact, I'd go as far as to say all of them probably are. So it's wouldn't surprise me at all to hear that a few of them may be starting to struggle for grip in the latter stages of the weekend now. Michael Knibbs though has other worries, and that's the fact that the road in front of him is full of Thomas Jenkins. He'd like to get back through though, because I think I was waiting to see whether the two of them were quicker than the race leader now. Thomas was in front. That's not the case though, and I think Michael Knibbs, having realised that, he's now going to try and go back through. He's up the inside line down towards the hairpin again, and this is an exact repeat of the move that Jenkins made on him a lap or two ago. Nicely done. Through he goes into 2nd place once more. But they need to really stop changing positions like this. They need to just work together, get themselves into whatever order they're going to be in, whatever order they're quickest in, and then go after the leader, Jack Moody. But as Lyndsay was saying, there's not much to choose between these drivers at the front of the B grid in this race. There isn't one clear favourite. So Jenkins is not going to be happy to let Knibbs hold on to this 2nd place, and he goes back through on the inside. I suppose you could argue that Jack Moody is the pre-race favourite, since he's been in the A grid earlier on this weekend, but and on merit, on qualifying pace alone, but he's not that much further ahead of these two, and I do still maintain that if they didn't battle so hard together, they might be able to close that lead gap down. And see if they listen to me. I doubt it very much. Racing drivers very rarely do. When they're in the heat of the battle out there on the circuit, the red mist descends and they're more concerned with getting one over the driver that just overtook them than they are thinking tactically and working together. Especially in the B races, because points aren't quite as significant. It's a 2-point swing per position basically, so the victory in a B race worth 2 more points than the 2nd, that's worth 2 more points than the 3rd as well, so we're only dealing with a couple of points either way here, so they're really just out there to try and get the best result they can. That's Oliver Jenkins going up the inside of Bryn Griffiths and locking up. I think, is he going to go through into 4th position? He stops the car somehow. Bryn Griffiths left him plenty of room on the outside just in case he couldn't, but actually that's going to be his downfall, because it could allow maybe Oliver Robinson through as well. Bryn hangs tough around the outside at Spitfires to get the inside for the next left-hander at DeBenny, and they are still side by side. Oliver Jenkins will be on the outside line for the next corner as well, the entry to the S's, but if you go right round the outside through the left-hander, you get the inside line for the right-hander. Is that what Jenkins is going to do? No, he's not, because Robinson actually comes up alongside him as well, so Griffiths briefly loses 4th position, snatches it straight back though, but then is a bit slow off the S's, and so Jenkins is back up the inside again, and this time probably will make it stick in into Brooklands. Gets his nose in front, later on the brakes, and as long as he doesn't clobber that curve again, which he doesn't, he will go through, and Bryn Griffiths is the one that finds himself on the wrong side of the road, and so through will come Oliver Robinson and Alan Hawkins, who we've seen more of, I think, than anybody else today, because he's been right in the thick of the battles all weekend long. He goes through as well, so Bryn Griffiths losing 3 positions on that lap, and Alan Hawkins trying to gain 2 positions in 2 corners, because he goes up the inside now of Oliver Robinson, and will he make that stick on the exit? Griffiths is on the grass, Robinson and Hawkins are side by side, I think, as they come down the pit straight, and in fact Griffiths gets a run on the pair of them, and they could be almost 3 abreast in the braking zone. In the end it stays as it was though, with Robinson ahead of Hawkins, ahead of Griffiths, and all of them now behind Oliver Jenkins, who was the one that sort of triggered that little lap of side-by-side racing, and he's pulling away now. Look at that, in the white and red number 57 car. 2 of the AB Motorsport cars running wide in the background I saw there. But, I think they gathered that together. That presumably is the pair of Wilmots, Joseph in the 43 and Jack in the number 80, teammates both for AB Motorsport. Through the S's comes the Hawkins and Griffiths scrap though. Really have to feel for Alan Hawkins, don't you? He's been so close to a top 5 finish all year long, actually, not just this weekend, but all year long. His best finish is 6th in the B races. That, as I said earlier on, came in the very first race of the season at Brands Hatch. He then finished 6th again yesterday, was running inside the top 5 or 6 all race long earlier on this morning in race 2, and ended up finishing 7th. It would be, I suppose, ironic if he were to get a top 5 now in this final race, when it's not really worth anything. It doesn't get him a promotion. He's going up the inside of Robinson, and this time I think we'll go through at the final turn. Does he get it in the white lines on the exit of the corner? Just about, but he will be a bit slower off the turn than the 2 cars behind him. And Bryn Griffiths has carried so much speed through Honda Curve that he's pulled to the outside line of the pair of them down towards the braking zone at Hatchets. It'll be remarkable if he can make that one stick. Here come the 2 Wilmots. Is it Joseph ahead of Jack? No, it's Jack ahead actually, but Joseph is going up the inside line now at Hatchets, and the recovering Richard Wootton, who's done a lot of recovering today after various moments, is right there with them too. Joseph goes past Jack and then nearly throws it all away on the exit of the corner, gathers it together though, on board with Clive Chisnall, who's trying to chase down that group. Get a good view here of the very high-speed nature of the Pembrey circuit. Through the left-hander there at Debenny, down towards the S's. The original track veers off to the left there. The S's used to be a very high-speed flowing left-right. Now it's this much tighter chicane, which does open up more overtaking opportunities, as we've seen all weekend long. Up the road, Richard Wootton trying to find an overtaking opportunity to get past Jack Wilmot there. Carried more speed with the wider sweeping line through the second part of the S's to try and get on the inside down towards Brooklands, and it might just work because Wilmot's out wide. Wootton though didn't know where he was going to go, so he slammed on the anchor so as to avoid potential contact, and actually rather than gaining a position he might now lose a spot by the looks of it, because Bruce Robinson there, the white and orange car, was trying to get up the inside but actually thought better of it and might lose a place to Clive Chisnall. No, not quite. Clive again, sensibly, I think, backed out of that move, so they've all spaced out for the time being. Joe Wilmot pulling away now from them all after making that move down at the Hatchet's hairpin earlier on Jack. There is Jack, the number 80 car. Richard Wootton next in line. Then it's the number 80 car of, sorry, number 90 car, excuse me, of Bruce Robinson. Oh, but up the inside of him was Clive Chisnall. Work. Clive stays behind him. Wherever you look there are pockets of action, aren't there? And if you've never been to a BRSCC Mazda MX-5 meeting, I do urge you to try and get to one. They travel the country. Cadwell Park up in Lincolnshire is the next round. You can head to the BRSCC website to find out more details. It's only when you come trackside that you truly get to appreciate the madness that ensues throughout the middle of the field, because we can only focus on one battle at a time really with our TV coverage, but if you come and watch trackside you will be entertained, I guarantee it. All the Wilmots back at play, they're keeping each other entertained here. It looked as though Joe was pulling away from Jack, but now Jack's caught him up again, and Richard Wootton's taking advantage of their family rivalry to get up the inside of Jack. Down towards Woodlands, side by side to the fastest corner on the track. That was brave stuff. Stands his ground there, gets to the inside at Honda, but Jack is going to try and go right round the outside, and that is very brave indeed. Back with the battling going on a bit further up the order, and Bryn Griffiths has lost a position there, hasn't he? 2. Who's gone past him now? Is that Oliver Jenkins? No, it can't be. William Hayden, isn't it? William Hayden, who started from the back of the grid, having retired from the previous B race with brake issues. He's actually got himself now into 4th position. So the white car is William Hayden, another AB Motorsport car. We saw Ali Bray himself working on the brakes of Williams' car before the previous B race. Oh, Bryn Griffiths on the grass, loses the rear of the car. Now, it looks like he's taking a big shortcut, but that's just so that he can safely re-merge onto the circuit rather than trying to fight your way straight back on immediately. He'll lose another position there to Ollie Robinson as a result, but that was safer than trying to gather the car together while simultaneously recovering onto the circuit. So he just let the car run out wide onto the grass, gathered the slide first, and then sensibly waited until the car was under control before he tried to rejoin the track. Alan Hawkins, one of the drivers that benefits from that, he gains another place in the 722. Down to the final corner he goes again, dab on the brakes just to get the weight on the nose of the car so that it's an understeer through that very tricky corner. One of the key corners on the circuit is Honda. It's ultra high speed, there's not a huge amount of runoff area there should you get it wrong, but it's really important to get a good run down this park straight across the start-finish line because the Hatchett's hairpin, as we've seen all weekend long, is one of the prime overtaking opportunities on the track. Hawkins then a bit sideways there, Oliver Robinson keeping him honest, and then Bryn Griffiths slipping backwards now slightly after that victory earlier on this, or yesterday afternoon I should say. These guys have one race on the Saturday apiece, one A race and one B race, and then 2 races each on the Sunday. So if you come along to the Sunday you get 4 Mark 1 MX-5 races for your money, and often some M Mark 3 Super Series races as well. So if you're a fan of this racing, as I said, get yourself trackside to watch them because they are super, super entertaining. Back on board now with the number 90 of Bruce Robinson, and I think is Richard Wotton in front of him, and he's still playing with the 2 Wilmots, isn't he? And I think that's Jack in front of him, except that's Jack now behind him because Jack made a real Horlicks of the S's there, so Richard Wotton and possibly even Bruce Robinson were able to take advantage of that. There is Oliver Robinson, who is not quite close enough to really attack Alan Hawkins on this occasion through the final turn. Back with the leaders, by the way. We haven't seen much of these 3, but it is still Jack Moody in the lead. It's now Thomas Jenkins second, though, and Michael Nibbs down to 3rd. So Michael Nibbs, the yellow car there, in 3rd position. Losing a bit of touch, actually, to Thomas Jenkins in front of him. I wonder whether or not Thomas is going to be able to close in on the leader. And his last lap time was quicker than the leader, so Jack Moody has not got this one wrapped up just yet. You can see the gap there. It's not a big one between the black car of Moody and the red car of Thomas Jenkins. And if Jenkins gets a sniff of a victory here, he will definitely go for one. Neither of them have won a race yet this year, even in the B group. Indeed, as we said, we made the point, we've had 5 different B group winners so far this year, and if any one of these 3 were to win this race, they would be a 6th different winner. Tom Smith, William Hayden and John Langridge all won at Brands Hatch. We had Bryn Griffiths win yesterday, Matt Luff won this morning, and these 3 all looking for their first victory of the season. Jack Moody, the black car, has the lead at the moment, but the red machine of Thomas Jenkins wants it. Michael Nibbs would rather like to see them start battling, actually, because that might be enough to bring him back onto terms with the top 2. Let's see what the gap's like this time around as they come out of the final turn. Look at the speed they carry onto the pit straight. Really, really impressive stuff. And yep, it's come down again fractionally that time. So Thomas Jenkins in the second half of this race, we're into the final third of it now really, but he is starting now to rally back towards the tail of the leader's car. Looks a bit quicker out of Hatchett's as well there. And then through this real momentum part of the circuit, if you make a mistake through any one of these corners, it will really, really cost you for the next 2 or 3 turns, really. You've got to be precise here, but it's very high speed and it's very bumpy as well. You can see the cars bouncing around on their suspension there through the high-speed sequences of corners. So it's very difficult to keep the car in a straight line, and yet it's essential that you do, because the more sideways action that you produce, the more spectacular it looks, but the slower you'll go. Within reason, anyway. These cars don't mind being thrown around a bit. They're certainly more progressive than their Mark III counterparts, which can be a bit twitchy when you start applying the throttle a bit too aggressively. These things, you can see they're sort of in a constant state of sliding, but it's a controlled slide. It's when you start overreaching and over-pushing that you start losing time. It's relatively difficult actually to lose control of one of these cars. They're very, very well balanced, and that's what makes them so popular amongst novice racers. None of these three are novices, but they're not the most experienced drivers on the grid, and yet I think they're about to put on a bit of a show now for the final couple of laps, because the lead gap has almost completely been eradicated now, and Thomas Jenkins is with the leader Jack Moody and locks up the brakes and almost gets into the back of him in the first corner. He's off. Thomas Jenkins, what a shame, just as he was about to challenge for the race lead, and he throws away any chance of a victory and second place as well, because Michael Nibbs has gone through too. Oh, and there's a spin there down at the right-hander at Brooklands. Didn't quite catch who that was, but whoever it is going to rejoin. It's 73 by the looks of it. John Wood, one of the Masters contenders who went around. I don't think that was with any assistance, but I'm not entirely sure. We didn't quite see how it started. He was already out of shape when he appeared in shot. But this, the battle for the race lead now into the closing stages of the race. And it's Michael Nibbs into second place then. Jack Moody third. Jack Moody leading, as he has been all race long. Down to third has gone Thomas Jenkins. I think that was just a little bit of hot-headedness maybe, as he finally realised he was close enough to attack for the lead and just pushed the envelope too far going into the first corner, snatched the brakes. We've seen a few times actually this weekend that once you lock those brakes, it's very hard to unlock them. The cars sort of bounce around a bit once you start doing that. They don't handle very well, and we saw Thomas Jenkins losing that second place there, and we're on to the final lap now as well, so he doesn't really have time to fight back from this. Moody's pulled away from Nibbs over the second half of that lap, so it's going to take a Herculean effort here for Michael if he wants to challenge Jack for the victory. Jack there just dabbing the brakes as he comes out of Hatchets. That's odd. So just making sure the brake pedal's still there, I guess. The brakes get a bit of a work over here, because whilst it is a very high speed and flowing circuit, there are a couple of big stops. Obviously the biggest one is down into Hatchets in the first corner, but then this is a big braking zone as well, right down the gearbox into the S's. So there are a couple of places where the brakes really do get worked harder. Because you're running over the curbs so much and over the bumps, it's very easy to get pad knock-off here, which is where the brake pads get knocked away from the discs slightly, and then the next time you go to hit the brakes, they don't connect quite right, and you can end up really out-braking yourself and sometimes going way off the road. So that's why often you'll see the drivers, if they run over the curbs heavily, they'll just sort of dab on the brakes just very gently so as not to slow themselves down too much, but just to check that they've still got the feel of the brake underneath them. Possibly that's what Jack Moody was doing there, but he's not really been too aggressive with the curbs. He's not had to be really, because from start to finish, Jack Moody has led this race by several car lengths, initially over Thomas Jenkins, now over Michael Nibbs, but he is going to be the 6th different B-class winner from 6 races in 2019. Jack Moody takes the checkered flag in the final race of the weekend here at Pembrey. Michael Nibbs is second. Thomas Jenkins will come home third, but he'll be a tad disappointed with that, I think. William Hayden, though, great drive from the back of the grid, and he will be 4th, with Oliver Jenkins rounding out the top 5, and Alan Hawkins, he's 6th again for the 3rd time this year. Alan Hawkins misses out on the top 5 by just 1 position. He fended off Oliver Robinson and Bryn Griffiths by the smallest of margins. Joseph Wilmot got the better of the Battle of the Wilmots. He's 9th, with Charles Mugglestone down in 10th, but he did recover well after that first lap off. Clive Chisnall likewise in 11th. Bruce Robinson, Jack Wilmot, Nick Ledoyen and Christopher Ginn round out the top 15. Peter Lancaster was our only non-finisher from that race, because Adam Tyrrell didn't start it, and William Hayden, in his fight from the back of the grid to 4th, set the fastest lap.
You were kept true and fought for every inch of that track.
Yeah, they were on me. I think they were going to close in. If that was much longer a race, then they would have had it. I was done by about lap 12 or whatever it was. So yeah, but good fun. It was good to see them two scrapping behind as well.
Did you think for a second that would be me gone if in a few more laps?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought the car went completely off and I was really struggling. And then luckily he made a mistake behind, and yeah, that was me.
Fantastic. Does this mean you're going to be joining us back at Cadwell?
I will be, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Brilliant. What's your thoughts on Cadwell?
I haven't raced there before. I missed it out last year, so yeah, first time there.
Brilliant. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you then.
Thank you very much.
Talk me through your thoughts on that track.
Just had to try to stay with the 2 in front, and managed to, and then managed to pass one to come second.
How was the car holding up towards the end?
It gets very slippery towards the end, so it was struggling, but we made it through.
Good, good. Right, so do you think you might have had Moody there for the next few laps?
I doubt it. He's just too good.
You still managed to beat your brother. Got to be happy.
Yeah, so this time I managed to get past him, or I started in front of him and didn't let him past, I should say. So it was a good result today, yeah.
Quickly talk me through, how did it go out on track?
How did it go? So I started off in second, dropped back to third for a few laps, had a bit of a tussle with the guy in the yellow car, I can't remember his name. And then I started getting a bit closer to Jack. I just kind of overcooked it into the hairpin after the start-finish line. Kind of went across the grass, went across everything, went a bit cross country. And then managed to get back on the black stuff and kind of managed to bring it home in third. So I was quite happy with that.
Well, Cadwell's next. What's your thoughts?
Cadwell, so that's where I did my first race last season. So it's kind of quite daunting for me. It's a bit more hilly than here. So the plan is to try and qualify in the A's and then stay in the A's all weekend.
Sounds like a plan. Right, well, we'll let you go and enjoy this third place and we'll see you next round.
Thank you very much.